on, everyone. Welcome back to another live preview. Thanks everyone for joining, and obviously everyone coming on as well. Obviously, just to get started, how are you guys doing? You all good?
Good.
Yeah, good.
Good. So, right, get into it. Obviously, Charlton. Obviously, don't really want to speak about it much because it was quality for the first sort of 25 minutes, and then it all fell apart. We'll start off with Jake. What is your thoughts on that game?
Well, for the record, I didn't see the first half an hour. So all the best bits I fucking missed. Do you know what I mean? So, for what I saw, we played all right until Charlton scored, and just forgot to play football after that. Really. It's just the same problems week in, week out. 3 or 4 games you can tolerate mistakes, but 35 games in, the same players doing it, and there's certain players I think they get a free pass. Why? Because they're local. Get over that shit. I'm fed up with it now. Sadly this is the time where it's like men from the boys. This last 10 games is like make or break. And if these players either want to further their Rovers career or further themselves, they need to sort their act out. Simple as, really.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like you said, we've had a lot of people, a lot of the same players, making mistakes, and it's costing us. We've only got 10, 12 games left. To see if we can stay up, and it's the same, pretty much the same every week. There's at least 1 or 2 mistakes for every goal. I can't really remember a great team goal or a great goal scored against us. But we go with Max next. What did you make of Tuesday's game?
Well, obviously, first half hour was great, but then it all fell apart. So, I mean, it's classic Rovers, really. We score, then they just concede straight away. So, there's not much we can do about that other than eliminate the mistakes all the time and start putting the ball in the net more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like obviously you just said and Jake said, we've just mistakes, keeps carrying on. I mean, you can bring in like we've brought in, obviously Clint Hill's coming with Barton, but I mean, he can only do so much, and then it's the players' responsibility to go on the pitch and do it. But yeah, again, like you keep saying, every single week there's mistakes. Lewis, what about you? What did you make of that game?
Well, I think after Charlton's first goal, I think we just capitulated. I felt we weren't the same team from there, and then it was all downhill. I think we didn't even deserve to get a point out of that second half because we just kept on getting deeper and deeper. And, you don't really associate that with like Barton's teams, but I think the standards were dropped. I think second half, and I think is that maybe due to how many games we're playing and amount of, we have, if you look at our bench, they're bringing Anike on and we're bringing Mark Little on. I think some of these players are being run into the ground a bit. But yeah, I think we didn't deserve anything for that second half. But if we can take that 30 odd minutes into Plymouth, I think we've got a good chance.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, let's hope. Like Barton said in his pre-match, he was just saying about we need to take it into much longer because you can't just turn up for half an hour then. As soon as we can see, like you said, we just capitulate. The mentality of the players has got to be spoken of. It's just not good enough. Like people said. Josh, what did you make of that game?
Touched on it already. Really, it's the game management aspect. Every week plays a part in our downfall. When you're 2-0 up, and we could have been 3 or 4-0 up at that point, and that goal by Shinnie sort of knocked the stuffing out of us, but everyone could see it coming, and that was probably the worst part, is that even though we were in quite a comfortable position being 2-0 up, I think everyone thought that something was going to come and undo all that hard work, and I think Barton's now getting sick of saying the same thing, and what Jake said, all being very well, you can blame certain aspects of management, but when it's the same players week in, week out, and you've got to 35 games in the season and the same mistakes are happening over and over again, there's only one crop of players, that got look at themselves in the mirror and take responsibility. And I don't think that's happening enough. I think Barton is coming around to that ideal and he's trying to iron those creases out. But with 10, 11 games to go, it's getting scary now.
Yeah, definitely, completely agree. And it's just, I mean, that's the most annoying thing, that it just keeps going on and on. I mean, even on my live stream, right, there was loads of people. I mean, I'd probably say I've seen 5 or 10 comments of people saying Barton out, and I was like, "Are you serious?" Like, I mean, like, we bring him in. I mean, that's the thing that I get annoyed about, right? We give Tisdale, yeah, but we give Tisdale the whole of January, then we sack him, and then we bring in Barton, and he can't even bring his own players in, and like you've all said, it's the same players making mistakes, and he hadn't even had any time to bring any players in. But the next thing I want to speak about, I want to get everyone's thoughts on who was your best player on Tuesday night and who was the worst. We'll start off with Jake.
I'm probably the worst person to ask because I miss all the good stuff. Flipping egg. I can't even tell you. Probably, if I had to give a worst player, I would start off with the worst. I mean, the easy one to say is Joe Day for the sending off, but it's one of those, the ball was there to be won. But I think by sort of default, he kind of gets that. But I don't really kind of get the pitchforks out for him, so I don't think that's fair. Probably man of the match would have been, could say Upson for his goal, but he didn't. He was ineffective after that. A younger worked hard. Give it to a younger. I think he worked very hard. A younger did play, didn't he? He started.
Yeah. Younger started.
Yeah, so it shows how much of a shot I gave. Yeah, I probably give it to him there. Yeah, he works hard. I said there's not many players in that team that I can say that don't not care. They're just not very good, and I think there is a difference between that. Yeah. So if you had to give it to one of those, I think a younger probably for that, just for a kind of effort.
Yeah, fair enough. I think the same with me. I thought for the goal, well, for the penalty, he done class to get past 2 of their players. He sat down their captain Pierce, went past him, and obviously got took out. I mean, and that's the thing. Every time the ball got lumped up to a younger, he was holding the ball up, but whenever it went to Hanlon, it was literally just like slipping off his foot, or he was getting out muscled. But we go with Max. What do you think? Who was the best and who was the worst in your eyes?
Well, obviously you've got the defensive errors to account for, which could be the worst. But I think the worst was Hanlon. He just fell over every 5 seconds. And then obviously a younger, I think, was probably by far the best player. Looked the best attacking threat and held up the ball brilliantly the whole game. So
Yeah, completely agree. Lewis, what about you?
Well, we'll get the negatives out of the way. I think the defence was actually pretty solid until their mistakes. They always just seem to let themselves down. Their stupid mistakes. And I think Baldwin should have been starting for a long time, because I don't know how Harry started over him most times, but I think he's been solid since he came in. I think the whole defence was alright until let them 2 sloppy goals in. But I'll probably give it to Hanlon, because I think he shouldn't be starting. I think Daly should be playing in front of him, because he's clearly not fit enough. He's chasing shadows there, and I think he just was non-existent, really. I thought probably the best player was the younger, because he seems to be getting better every single game. His hold-up plays. For a big man, he's good. He's good with the ball at his feet. It gives you pretty much the whole deal with him, rather than Hanlon. He's good on the ball. He can dribble, but then Daly's a poacher and stuff. But yeah, I think Hanlon, a younger, was really good the other night.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it was obviously so unlucky for him again, that chance he had when he chipped it over the keeper. I think whilst he was getting pushed as well, I think their defender pushed him, and he's just hit it. And obviously, with it being Rovers, we hit the post. I mean, if it was any other team, then they'd done that, it probably went in. But that's the sort of luck we've got at the moment. Josh, what about you? Who would be the worst and the best from that game?
Geordie. 94th minute cameo. No, I think Jonah was definitely the standout player. We've been saying it for weeks. What he brings to the team is what we need in a scrappy relegation battle. It's a shame that the players he's bringing into play aren't doing the goods as well. And the more and more I see the last few weeks, the more and more he's been cast in the limelight. I just think Brandon Hanlon needs that break. He goes down more than someone on, it's terrible. Someone ought to buy him some boots for Christmas that fit him, because I've never seen someone try so hard and fall on the floor so much. And what we've seen in August, September of him to now is contrast to the player he was then, and it's getting a bit worrying now. I think it's time to get him out of the limelight, bring someone like James Daly in, or I think Byron was touched on the fact that Tutonda and Oz are going to be back in the fold now, so maybe bring the likes of Oztumer in, more offensive player to play in a front three with Nicholson and Ayungo, or something along those lines. I think the kid's got to get out of the limelight now. He's going to be more than a scapegoat to a lot of fans. I did see that stuff about Barton. I think is ridiculous. The way in which we're trying to play and the vision he has is completely contrast to what we've seen beforehand. Just stick with him, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, definitely. I thought it was madness when people were saying that, and he hadn't even brought in his own players yet. He's still got the sort of a lot of players that have been bad through other managers and regimes so far this season. And obviously it was interesting you brought up that topic about Oztumer and Tutundum. We're going to go over that. I'm going to get each of your thoughts, starting with Jake. What do you make of that? Barton, is thinking of bringing them two back into the first team setup.
Well, it's a bit of a cliche thing to say. They can't be any worse than what the rest of them are. I know it sounds a bit. I don't think it's. I don't think he could be worse. Sorry, in that comment, I don't think he'd be any worse than what we've already had there. Oztumer, I think, on his day, is a class player. I feel sorry for him because he's had that long COVID, and I think a lot of people have got to remember that his fitness isn't there or was there. We'll see what it's like when he comes back. Tutonda, I think people got on the hype train. I did. Look, when this I don't want to sort of rake him over the coals a bit, but whenever he comes up against good wingers, he struggles against. But I do feel like as soon as he had a bad game back in November, he was just taken out of the team, and that was it. Like, you weren't given a chance to bounce back. But I think it's good to just have a bit of difference in there. I like some players. Like Barton said, a few of them are passengers, and I think some of them need a bit of a kick up the rear, even the ones that are doing quite well going forward, that is. I think it can only breed. I think any competition is good competition in the squad, I think.
Yeah, completely agree. Also, people in the comments, make sure you keep smashing the like button and subscribing. This support has been mental, like I keep saying. It's nearly, I think we're like 200 away from 2,000 subscribers. So keep smashing the support. It's much appreciated. Max, what about you? What's your thoughts on the whole situation of the Turkish Messi and Tutunda getting involved?
Well, I think Oztumer definitely, could do with coming back to the squad, because what he brought to the squad was pretty good. Because obviously, attacking wise, he was what we needed. The energy he had, the skills that he showed. I mean, it's what Rovers needed going forward. But obviously, he's been out and struggling at the moment. But let's hope he can make a good impact coming back in. And then Tutonda, I think he's mixed. He's great going forward and beating the man and getting a cross in, but he's not as good defensively like Leahy, although Leahy makes mistakes. But I think Lee's the better overall player.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Lewis, what about you? What do you make of the whole situation with them two coming back in?
I think we yet to see the best with Oztumer. I think he's definitely had, since he's left Walsall, we hadn't really had, what his career was supposed to be. But he showed glimpses of what he can do, and I think he does need that. Doesn't need a goal or assist because remember against Darlington, he did that mad celebration, didn't he? Because a bit of relief in it. But I like to see him in the squad and going back to what he was good at. Linking up with like strikers and playing off them because that's what we probably need at the moment. But with Tutonda, I think with Tutonda, it's just the fact he did come from non-league and he has played against some of the relegation sides around us early on in the season. I think, he was good on the ball, but I think it showed when he came up against Hull. He did get torn apart a bit, but he could have done the low move to try and get some more game time because I think under Tisdale, Swindon's pretty much his only game he's played in Accrington when he came on for a few minutes, but. Yeah, he's good with the ball at his feet, but at League One standard, I don't think he's got enough games under his belt yet. Yeah,
I completely agree. I think like you said, a low mood in January could have made a lot of difference. He come from Barnet. He was good in non-league, but it's a bit of a step up, especially like sort of as a defender. When you come up the likes of Mallet Wilkes like he did, and he got torn a new one, didn't he? So, but yeah, we'll see. Josh, what about you? What's your thoughts on them two?
I think it's got to that point where it's probably no harm in testing the waters, because like what Jake said, he sort of just got frozen out after, I think it was the Swindon game with Tisdale. Tisdale obviously didn't like Tutonda. And with Leahy playing and scoring, I can't see him forcing his way into the side. But as depth in the squad, then I don't see why not. I can't see what he offers any less than what Koike would. In terms of Oztumer, I think if we can utilise his strengths, then we could really benefit from him. But as Lewis was saying, we haven't seen the best of him, nor did Bolton, nor did Charlton. He hasn't really replicated what he did at Walsall since he's left for better things. So that's why he's found himself on loan at us. So if he wants to get a contract in the summer with anyone, then now's the time to sort of dig in and start creating. But this long COVID stuff has really affected him. So it's been hard to judge because I remember saying what would be our best business on the Pirate Pundit in January, and there was 80% of people saying to get Oztumer on a permanent, which from there till now, it couldn't be more sort of contrast of opinion because he's just been sort of cast aside, and when he has played, he hasn't been as effective. Whether or not he needs that big man to sort of play off in Oyunga and have Nicholson sort of running the channels and breaking the lines, we'll soon see whether or not he plays tomorrow. It'd be interesting because Plymouth and Swindon coming up, is you sort of want your better players to play and to batter them, really.
Yeah, I completely agree. And obviously a bit later on, we're going to be going on about the lineup. So get ready in the comments, start thinking, and on people on the live, start thinking about what team would you play and if you would include both of them.
I'll be doing that for 20 minutes. I'll be thinking about it. I'm thinking of trying to play tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think there's going to be quite a lot of changes. I think we might even see maybe going back to the wing-back system, or maybe even another formation. I'm not sure. I think anything could happen because, like we all said, the players' mentality that played on Tuesday and, we just fell apart. We might see, Ema come back into the fold maybe, but we'll see about that. So yeah, obviously next up, the game we're previewing, obviously Plymouth, currently 16th, 11 points ahead of Rovers, who are in 19th. Rovers also got a game in hand. Their last 5 fixtures, they've lost 5, scored 2, and conceded 9. So they're obviously on pretty bad form. What's everyone's thoughts on Plymouth so far? And obviously the game coming up, we'll start with you, Jake. What do you make of Plymouth so far this season? And obviously the other game we played against them where he won 3-0 as well.
Yeah, well, we did quite well that game, I think. I mean, I remember at the time Plymouth were in around the same position we were. And then I think from then they got a rocket up their rear and they really picked up. And I think until their recent run of form, I always said I kind of thought Rovers should be around where Plymouth are. Obviously, their form over the last 5 games is sort of. It was very, very slim chance of the playoffs, but they had an outside chance. But they, on their day they can be a good side. But this is a good time to play them. They're on a bad run of form. But they'll be looking at the game going, well, here's a winnable game we've got. So it'd be tough, but they've always had good games against Plymouth. Easy for me to say. But yeah, it won't be easy tomorrow. But Plymouth have got to go careful they don't get dragged into the relegation fight. Unless they lose near enough all their remaining games, they'll be in trouble. I think they'll be okay. I think they only need probably about another 2 wins max, probably, and they're safe. But we'll see. But yeah, they're a mixed bag. But on their day they can cause a problem for any side.
Yeah, definitely. Max, what about you? What's your thoughts on Plymouth so far? And obviously they're got some good players. Obviously Jeff Cott, who was, his actual first time in the Football League. He was on loan at Truro City last season, and he's come into League One. He's got 18 goals in the league and 1 assist. What do you make of Plymouth and Jeff Cott?
The last 5 games hasn't really shown what they can do. But going forward, they're brilliant. Obviously, Jeff Cott, like you just said, he's a brilliant striker and he's stepped up massively from Truro. And we've got to watch out for him, especially if they're going to come back from these last 5 games. But it's always an interesting game. It's always entertaining. Obviously, they're on a bad form, and we've got to take that and use that to our advantage and hopefully thrash them. But we can't think too far forward. But obviously, the game we played them at home 3-0, we were brilliant from set pieces, and that's where they were bad. So we need to take that to advantage and get this game under our hands, because obviously they're going to want to come back from these 5 losses. And like a couple of years ago, we played Gillingham, who were on a bad run, and they smashed us 4-1 at their place. So we can't let that get us down, and obviously got to push forward and hopefully get the win.
Yeah, definitely, completely agree. And obviously, it's quite interesting as well, wasn't it? Because Jordy Van Stappershoff played that game, and that game I remember. We were pretty good, but we were also conceded quite a lot of chances. And Stappershoff had probably his best game under us that game. Made a lot of good saves. I think it was on the Rovers website and Twitter earlier. Stappershoff making the saves. But Lewis, what about you? What's your thoughts on Plymouth so far, and obviously the players to watch out for?
Well, like you said, they lost the last 5 games, and it's been like teams like Wigan and Northampton. I don't think Jeff Cott scored in the last few games. But yeah, they definitely have some players to watch out for, like Danny Mayer. He's quite good and everything. But yeah, I think it's quite ironic that Geordie's back as well. Hopefully, he can put another blinder in of a performance. Yeah. But I think wasn't really a true reflection of that game, that 3-0 game, because the amount of chances they had to score, they just couldn't hit a barn door. And we couldn't either up until that point. But 3 goals, 2 from set pieces. Like, you don't really associate that with Rovers this season, set piece goals or defending set pieces. But yeah, definitely look out for that Jeff Cott, that Ryan Hardy. I know he hasn't really scored many, but he did play quite well on the counter attack against us last time. But yeah, I think if we can get the minimum's got to be a point tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely, and should be interesting. Like you said, they're quite an attacking team. They do play. I think they play with the wing backs, but literally when they go forward, like everyone pushes forward. And like you both said as well about the set pieces, their defense has been awful. Like I said, conceded 9 in their last 5, and a lot of them are from set pieces. So we really need to make it count this weekend. Josh, what about you? What do you make of this game and Plymouth's form?
Yeah, it's almost set up for us to fail, isn't it? With them losing 5 on the spin and us expecting to do something. We've been in this position so many times this season, and we failed to deliver. It's almost predictable what's going to happen tomorrow. Yeah, like you said, Ryan Lowe plays a really expansive style of football. It's quite open. They're sort of all or nothing. Even though defenders sort of get in on the goals, I think that Callum Watts, Joe Edwards has scored quite a few. And then they're dangerous in set pieces with the likes of George Cooper. I think they got Ben Reeves now as well, and he's always been a thorn in our side at Rovers. And then you got Jeff Cotton Hardy up front. Danny Mayer is he was immense for Bury, and he was immense in League Two for Plymouth, but they're all dangerous, and they will counter quite quick. And the sort of malleable defence that we've shown of late, that's quite a daunting prospect. I've said that so many times on this show about daunting prospects, but it's just 5 defeats on the spin. You just know what's going to happen, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's same old Rovers, isn't it? When an opposition team's on bad form and there's Rovers, trying to be optimistic as a Rovers fan, then it all goes downhill. But hopefully, we can at least a point. But tomorrow we really need to be winning if we want to get out of this. Especially our next 2. Me and Jake talked about earlier. Our next 5 games. So obviously, our next 6, say, including Plymouth. So we got Plymouth, Swindon at home, Sunderland at home, Ipswich away, Donny at home, Northampton away, and then Lincoln at home. And we've also got Crew to play at home. We lost against them earlier on. Obviously, I'm trying to think of but obviously there's a few others, including Blackpool away on the last game of the season, which hopefully we don't have to win there. Hopefully we can try and get it all sorted before that. But next up, lineups. We'll go with you, Jake. Have you got a lineup sorted out which you'd like to see tomorrow?
Yeah, it's going to raise a lot of people's eyebrows, but I think at the end of the day, I think there's some players that I won't say they've had it easy, but I think if I'm honest, and they're practically like undroppable. I think some. So obviously, keeper have to be Yordi because obviously Jody decided to knock 7 bells out the Charlton player on Tuesday. So obviously, it'll be in the sticks. I think George Williams has to be at right back. I think he's probably been the most consistent player probably since January. Someone said, "Well, what's he done?" But then I say to people, "Well, what's he done wrong?" That's not his game to be, scoring 10 goals from right back. So he's going to play. I would bring Amer back in. I know it's a bit of a risky one. He doesn't deserve the captaincy again, and he shouldn't get it back straight away. But I think he needs to come in just for that experience, and I think Rovers need that now. Whatever experience Rovers can get, they need to play with it. Baldwin to the left of him, or wherever you want to put it there. So I think Baldwin has to go alongside him. He's probably been the least worst out of our centre backs this season. So I think he's going to play. How's it going to go? Yeah. So left back, I would pick Luke Lee. He's not brilliant defensively, we know that, but he does play an important role in the team at the moment. And I don't think he's really been particularly horrible since becoming captain. I know he made that mistake at Hull, but just like you said, sky is blue and water is wet. It happens every week. So the midfield, I think McCormick, barring any injuries, I think McCormick's fit. I think I'd play with him. That doesn't sound right, does it? Put McCormick in there. I think if Grant's fit, then I think he should play too. Which I think he might be out for a while, Josh Grant, I think. I made you laugh now. If Grant's out, then Upson, I think, has to go in there with him. Westbrook kind of at the front of the 3 in front. And then I think a front 3 of Oxtumer, Ayunga, and Nicholson. So I think that's probably, without making a couple of changes, I think that's probably the strongest Rovers can go with. I know Rodman's done quite well recently, but I'm not saying Oxtumer is the quickest guy, but we need a bit more acceleration going forward. I know the midfield looks a bit open, but at the end of the day, Rovers have tried pretty much anything else and it's not worked. So I think, in a way, I think you got to go for it. And I'm beginning to kind of think if Barton does make the changes tomorrow and it goes tits up again, or we fail to at least get a point. I mean, we can get a point tomorrow, and fair enough. But if it all goes tits up again and we have another heavy away defeat, he's like, I feel sorry for him because there's nothing else he can do. He's practically trying everything else he can. So I think, when he says he's going to bring in the changes, and unless he starts Dutondo, which I think is a little bit strange, I think that's probably the lineup of somewhat he might go for. That's what I'd like to see, but fact knows, Barton's in charge, not me.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Also, big shout out to Max as well, who left a comment. Go and subscribe to him. MK Dons fan, he says Ennis and Connor Grant for Argyle will stand out some Tuesday. Yeah, Ennis is another one to. He's I think they signed him on a permanent from Wolves in January. I mean, I think he's got two or three goals, but he's a very sort of small, agile player. So he's one to watch out for. And Connor Grant, which I forgot to mention, ex-Everton player. He's sort of like their creative midfielder, 4 goals and 10 assists. So very good player. Need to watch out for him as well. But Max, what about you? Who would you play on Saturday?
Well, obviously we got no choice with Fingal. It's got to be Geordie. So hopefully he can play a blinder again. I'd probably go with a back 4 again with Williams, Aimer, Baldwin and Leahy. I'd drop Kilgore because I think he's made far too many mistakes and just could do with the rest, if I'm honest. I'd probably go with midfield 3 of Westbrook, Upson and McCormick. And then I'd bring Ostumer straight into the throw and give him a go with Nicholson either side of him and then the younger up top.
Yeah, that sounds good. That's probably the formation I'm going to go with. I haven't thought of my formation just yet. Also, even into Gar said Steve as well. Also, people in the comments, get your formation down. It's going to be interesting to see because you could literally play any formation. You never know. Lewis, what about you? What are you thinking this week with your formation?
Well, obviously to be Geordie in goal. I think I don't know what people think. What people expect with Williams. I think he's a steady Eddie. I think he hasn't made a mistake yet. It's a bit like Lee Brown, if anything. He never really has a poor game. I think we've got to start. I think we've got to start Kilgore because I do see him going in a few years for some big money. I think just trying to get as many games as possible into him, and then probably Baldwin alongside him. I think he's been probably one of our better centre backs over recent games. I think Lee at this point is undroppable because what he's brought to the team. I think you can see it on the pitch how well he's captained the team through games. And then midfield, probably if Grant's fit again, give him a go. But I think Upson did put a performance in, but can he do that consistently, which he's failed to do recently. And then I think I've been quite impressed with Westbrook since Barton's come in. He's found the right position for him where other managers have failed to do so. And then I'm not sure about Rodman if he's fit or not, but yeah, I'll probably if it's a 4-4-2, I'll put McCormick in there if you play him on the wing, or if 4-1-2-1-2, whatever you want to play. But I think McCormick, Tuesday he was quite wasteful on the ball, but off the ball he's pretty good. But yeah, I'd be quite impressed with him. But then I think with the younger, he's got to go up front and probably Nicholson and Ostumer in behind. I think Nicholson has lost us a few one-on-one chances that I think he should be putting away, but he has he just tends to score the odd banger. You can put the 25 yards away shot away, but you can't really put it out away from 5 yards. But yeah, that'd be my team.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good team. Obviously interesting to see you've still gone with Kilgore, but that's obviously people's different opinions, and it's like I said, it's going to be interesting to see that lineup. I think there's going to be quite a few changes from Tuesday night. Josh, what about you? Have you thought of a lineup?
Yeah, because you can't drop them all. So Joe Day, obviously suspended, so Geordie in goal. Right back, I don't think I can say much more than what everyone else has said about Mr. Consistent, really, in George Williams at right back. I think he's been probably a shining light since his arrival in January, and he's like Mr. Consistent, as you say. I'm going to drop Kilgore and go with Max, Aimer, and Baldwin, and Leahy. at left back again, like what Lewis said, he's undroppable because of his goals he scores. If it was based on defensive, I think he'd come straight out for me. But I saying that, I think Tuesday he probably won his worst game in defence, but it was overshadowed by some other poor performances in the team. So yeah, those four at the back, I'd go with Upson, McCormick, and Westbrook, with Nicholson, Oztumer, and Oyunga, but Rodman if he's fit, and go 4-3-3 with Westbrook pushed into a more creative role, and then we can defend as a midfield five when Plymouth counter attack. But it's hard to say really because the depth in our squad, you can't cover all areas in which you want to sort of chop and change, and the people coming in have got a mistake in them as well, and haven't shown us enough when they have come in to seize their chances. So like even like I seen Barton was touching on that someone wasn't ready again on the subs bench when like what's that all about? Like you're in a bloody dogfight and you can't stand up and be counted. It makes you sick, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah,
Weak mentality. That's what it is. Very weak mentality.
Disgusting.
Yeah, completely agree. Right, with my team, I've had a long think about this, but I'm gonna. Jesus, what is that noise? I'm gonna go with Jake. Is that you? Yeah, I think it's him.
No, it's not me. It's not me. Not at all.
Right, I'm gonna go with a 3-4-3. Sort of with the wing backs pushing into midfield. I'm gonna go with obviously Stapashov in goal. A back three of Ema on the right, Baldwin in the middle, and I'm gonna actually put in Kean Harris because the game against Burton Albion, I thought he was class, and I don't know. I mean, I know there's some games he's been poor, but I think Kilgore, like we said, has made a lot of mistakes, and I think it'd just be easier to have a left-footed player in there. So then three at the back, four in the middle. Obviously Williams on the right. Middle would be McCormick and Upson. On the left, Leahy. And then serve the two inside forwards. I'd go with Nicholson and Westbrook. Sort of Westbrook just behind Oyunga. And then, Oyunga up front. But if Nicholson's not fit enough to start, then I'd chuck Oztumer there. But yeah, I think that was... Yeah, that'd probably be mine. Also, make sure to leave your predictions in the comments as well. We're going to go through that now. Jake, what is your prediction?
Oh, fuck me. My heart says a Rovers fan, but my head just says something else. I don't know. It's one of those. You might as well just toss a coin and just see what team turns up. Really, with Rovers this season, I think it's like 11 league wins in like nearly 18, or since like Christmas 2019. I think it's like 11 or 12 wins.
Yeah, shocking.
I think it was like 2 under Garner after Christmas, and then obviously the ones this season. So they ain't great. I don't know. I'm going to say 1-1. I think. I mean, fair play. We only can see one goal with how poor our defence is, but I take a 1-1 draw, depending on the circumstances. These next 2 games, you've got to get a minimum of 4 points at least. I'm going to go with 1-1. Probably won't, but yeah, 1-1 I do.
Fair enough. Sitting on the fence there with a 1-1. Max, what about you? Are you confident, or what do you reckon?
Well, I'd love to be confident and say we win 4-0, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So I think we will win. I think it's over 2-1. Obviously, I think it'll be a tight game, definitely, as they're attacking, and they're probably going to come out flying tomorrow, trying to prove what they can do after their 5 losses. So I think we'll concede because that's undoubtedly we're pretty poor in defence. But I think we'll win it 2-1. So yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Lewis, what is your prediction for the game?
I think business end of the season. I think I'd rather pay £10. Just see us get absolutely obliterated, but get us one scrappy goal. like we did like when Robin scored that header, off Hargreaves and into his path. But yeah, I think 3 points would be amazing. But I think we have to beat Swindon. I think it's imperative. So just a point minimum, I think.
Well, so what are you saying? 1-1, 2-2, 3-3?
1-0. 1-0.
1-0. Bloody hell, I'd love a little cheeky 1-0 away down at home park. Josh, what about you? Are you feeling confident, or are you sort of on the fence like Barber?
First of all, forever football, PUFC. Just batter them at all costs, please.
Yeah.
We want Rochdale to lose at any. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going
6-0.
Yeah, I'm going 6-0 Clark Harris with all 6.
In terms of us, no, I'm not confident. I'm going to sit on the fence, but
Come and join
I'm
me on
gonna
the
say-
fence. Though.
yeah, we might break the bloody thing.
I would, yeah.
I reckon Desmond 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah, we're going to score, but we're going to concede. That's the rules of Bristol Rovers at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough. Obviously Brad Duffy's there says 2-0 Gas, a clean sheet away to Plymouth. Plymouth boys are in free fall. Got to take advantage of that. When do Rovers ever take advantage of a team on poor form? I cannot remember the last time. I'm actually gonna go 3-2 Rovers. I think this time is going to be a last minute winner instead of a last minute equaliser from Gavin Riley. The last time, I'm going to go with Ayunga to get 2 and Max Emer to get a goal from a naughty set piece, because they do love conceding a set piece goal. And I'm going to go, probably knowing Rovers, Jeff Cott hasn't scored in like 5 games, so I'll give Jeff Cott 2 goals. But as long as we win, I don't really care. We've got Drew Thomas saying 2-1 as well. 2-1 Gas. Yeah, I'd love a 2-1 Gas. But obviously I'll be doing, I mean, this week is a bit different for the live stream because on StreamYard I've nearly used up like all the 3 hours. I've used like 18 and a half hours of streaming, because I'm not on the paid one, because what's the point of paying like 30 quid a month when you can just stream for free? So I'll be streaming on the normal YouTube without the scores, but yeah, I'll still be doing one. But that's about it for this one. Thanks everyone for tuning in. There we got one more score. Forever Football Peterborough has said 1-1. Well, 1-1 I'd probably take as long as we don't lose, but yeah, really 3 points. But yeah, thanks to Jake, Max, Lewis and Josh again for tuning in. Make sure to smash a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you in the next one. The Gas.
There we go.
Gas.